Let's go.
This is turning into one of the weirdest shows I've ever done.
I was like, God, if I'm the one that breaks them, vegetarians are like, I'll probably get cancer. I'd probably grow a tumor on my face.
I didn't eat. I was vegetarian for like a month, and then someone was like, I'll buy you a quarter pounder if you drive me somewhere. And I was like, all right. And then someone was like, you're going to get sick. And I didn't at all. I think I was.
After a month.
What?
Sorry, I'm eating a salad.
Eating a salad.
Motherfucker.
What is it? Is this your New Year's resolution to eat more salads
My
while
health board,
podcasting?
That's what they were just talking about. They want to eat more salad.
Yeah. Oh, you did hear us.
Yeah, I was paying
Tyler
attention.
was saying it's funny how many fat people are at the gym today.
Mm-hmm.
As if he was not one of those fat people.
You know, I sent that text for the layup, and neither of you guys said it. So I was like, why did I even bother sending this text?
They're like 3 texts you send all day.
I saved it for now.
I was trying to
I
make
saved it for
Logan's
now.
day by being like all these fat people at the gym, and he could be like, I'm gonna get him now. But yeah, I'm eating a salad. It's caught in my throat right now.
All right.
All right, we're good. Yeah, no, you won't get sick after a month of vegetarianism and then eating a cheese.
What happened when you did it?
Nothing.
Did you lose weight?
No, you know what I did? No, because I
Did
ate.
that work?
No, I felt noticeably better. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do the show anymore.
Yeah.
This is already starting off hurting my feelings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we'll
good.
move on to Dan. That's fine.
Thank you.
Oh, come on now.
You thought you can get sick after a month of not being a vegetarian?
All right.
Have you guys ever had a guest before on the South Shore Boyz?
Yeah.
podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is how we do it.
It's not that. It's not like it. Who else have you had? What other
You know,
big
the
names?
list is.
Well, it depends if you count like before we changed the name.
Oh, what is it now?
Now it's
It is the
South
South
Shore
Shore
Boyz
Boyz podcast now.
Yeah.
It
What
used
was
to
it?
be called the Awful Podcast.
Oh yeah.
And we had like a guest like more often than not on that one.
Like every single one.
If this goes great, we change the name again to like
Yeah, hell yeah.
fucking sweet podcast. Fucking awesome
Awful used to be an acronym.
rad podcast.
The Awful Rad Podcast.
Yeah.
Awful was an acronym. It was AWFOL. Are we funny or losers podcast? Now that started like with just us three.
We thought we were real cool.
And then everyone was like, I remember everyone
Not
was
like
like,
now.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say not like unlike now. We are the South Shore Boyz.
and everyone was like, you should change it to the South Shore Boyz podcast. It makes more sense. We resisted for a while. I remember one night I changed everything over. I changed like all of the podcast information. And I put together like a really shitty logo real quick. And I was like, everyone's gonna be so happy that like we finally have the new name. And everyone was just like, this logo's gay. And they were like, but the name is so much better. Awful sucked. I was like, I came up with awful. Like, this is double hurting my
hit.
fan. They're like, yeah, your original name sucked, and like this artwork you put up sucked, but everything else about it is a good idea. So
I thought the artwork was intentionally kind of like.
Yeah, it's ironically bad.
Yeah,
That's what
I
we're
thought-
going
Oh, yeah, that's
for.
what I was
It was like sweet move, Tim and Eric style.
yeah,
Kind of.
yes.
That's what everything is now.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Tim and
Tyler
Eric.
does
It's
seem like
meta.
a Tim and Eric character, I feel like,
Thank you,
in
Logan.
real life.
That's very nice of
Like
you.
one of the weird, retarded actors that they have on their show.
Okay. You want to triple down on
Yeah.
me?
I was gonna say. I was driving over here and I was like, I wonder who's gonna end up being like the one that gets shit.
It's usually
It'll
not
it's
it'll
you.
switch.
It'll switch, yeah.
It'll switch to me real quick.
Until Logan starts to whine, then it'll go to him for a little bit. That's his downfall.
Yeah, it's the whining
Whine.
and the
The whine?
bitching
Yeah.
and
Okay.
the fucking moaning. He just never stops.
Is that your thing?
I see. I don't think I do that. I think this is now I'm the target. Is what happened, right?
No, you're whining.
Tyler switched it. Oh,
That's how
man.
quick I am. You guys don't even realize me changing the tides on the show. I'm going to take a bite out of my salad, and I feel really
What?
sad.
Stop eating the salad.
so
We are
hungry.
starting.
Is this it?
We have
I'm
started.
not going to not finish my salad. It's right in front of me, and I have only a few bites left.
All right, finish your fucking
You want to
salad.
intro the
What
show?
kind of salad is it?
It's a strawberry avocado salad.
Oh,
With
Okay.
raspberry vinaigrette
oh my god.
and a piece of garlic bread on the side.
fruit. I mean, I don't like fruit in my salad, and I don't like to mix fruits and vegetables.
No, same. It
Yeah.
freaks me out.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing, but then I tried the salad. It's real good. This isn't my first time having it. I'm not just like coming to this revelation.
Would you pick that up in Abington or up here in Quincy?
Up here,
All right,
yeah.
Thank God.
Down the
'cause
street.
At Abington
When I was coming back
salads.
from the gym, Abington salad's
An
not
Abington
good.
salad is fucking.
No.
It's a prison. That's
That's
prison
what we call the
slang.
ladies on the South Shore,
Yeah.
actually.
Abington
Abington
salads.
salads.
I
Hell
take a
yeah.
bite now.
All right,
Go
take
ahead,
your
Tyler.
fucking bite.
All right.
That's because Tyler eats all their asses.
I've only.
And yeah,
I think Tyler is.
I
I'm
wish.
starting to think you are a character because I've only ever seen you wearing that one sweatshirt.
Thank you, Will. I got the sweatshirt like a month ago.
you should see him in the
at
summer.
Primark, and in the summer I wear only like 3 T-shirts.
All right, you're not
And
in court.
shorts
You can
all the
talk to
time.
him.
I know, you can't. They don't have you. I mean, he's leaning over with his mic like he's fucking testifying to Congress. I'd like to change my answer.
Guilty.
Being a fat idiot.
Wow.
Sorry.
I'm just watching you
My
eat a
bad.
salad.
You guys can talk about anything else while I eat a few bites of the salad.
Well, you're mesmerizing,
It's
Tyler.
impossible not. It's impossible not to talk about.
What's
it.
up, Will? How you doing?
Hey, Dan.
Will Noonan from the High Pathetically podcast.
Yep, which also changed its name once.
Oh, really? Well,
It was
oh,
the
I saw
Will
that the other
Noonan
day.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
How
smart,
long,
though.
So you
how
went
long have you been doing the
backwards.
podcast?
a long time, like 3 years or something. 2
Oh,
or
that's
3
fun.
years. I keep saying like the same amount of time, but for like a year.
Right,
so
right,
it's
right.
been a long time because I look. But it was the Will Noonan podcast for a little while, and then it was really at its most popular for a little while because podcasts were new and stuff.
Right, yeah.
And then it was this thing called Pod Monster was like the host, and they just went out of business. And
Oh,
and
damn.
I
So you
couldn't
just
get
lost
back
all
into
that?
it. I couldn't add or delete anything. I couldn't do anything, so I had to
Damn.
just start over.
That
So-
sucks.
But
Yeah,
then I
what?
went
That's
with
fucked
Libsyn,
up.
and they're like reliable and shit. But it ended up being good because it was sort of like just aimless before.
Yeah.
Doesn't have solid structure. It has now. Just a guy rambling, but
Yeah, I remember I first got into comedy, and then
Chew.
yeah.
shut up. And then the fans love the chewing. I saw that you had an episode with Mike Quackenbush up, and I was like, "What? How did you just have an episode with Quack?"
Yeah.
So I listened to that, and I really liked that.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Tyler.
And then I was like, "But this guy himself, I can't stand him."
Yeah, no, that was Mike Quackenbush
I
was
was
like
joking.
that was a tough fucking. He's like this pro wrestler, is very famous in the pro wrestling world. I got really into when I discovered like pro wrestling. I got like really into the fact that there were a bunch of like unknown dudes, just like in comedy.
Yeah,
Like, there's
yeah.
a bunch of dudes out there who do it all the time as a full-time job that no one's ever heard of, just like in comedy. So like blew my mind. Truth also was I was in like a terrible relationship and I was looking for like any fucking distract. I was like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not away enough on comedy, so I was like, let me be away even more so I can like. So I got involved with a lot of wrestling shit, and it ended up being like way too much because like if you think comedians are like bitches and like whiny and like wrestlers,
Yeah, because wrestlers is the same thing, except they're getting hurt a lot.
yeah, they're getting hurt and they get more fucked like over by the business than even
Oh,
comics
so much
do.
more.
Yeah.
It's a
Hot
tough.
dog and
It's
a
like one of the
handshake,
toughest
baby.
existences.
What
out
did you
there.
do with wrestling?
I did one match. Where
Oh,
I
you
was-
are you trained and stuff?
No, I didn't. I didn't like
Wait, what? So what shitty promotion put you up?
Beyond
then?
Wrestling.
Oh, wait, Beyond. Why would Beyond put you up?
because
Because you have that pole. That
Well,
Will
we were
Noonan
there
pole.
like me and my friends. A lot of me and my friends were there when they were like a real small.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still small, but they were like real small then. And
I remember I went to one of their shows in like Holbrook.
yeah,
Yeah.
I used to go to the ones in Providence all the time. But anyway, I was like getting to know. I was having wrestlers on the podcast, so I was getting to know all the wrestlers. It became like a thing to do, and then they were like, "Why don't you?" Oh, Rydoon, who's
Okay,
big on
yeah.
Vine, came with me to watch a show, and then they were like, "You guys should be in the next show. It'd be funny. Like, we'll do all this stuff."
Did you bump?
So we were like, "Yeah, dude, I got killed." I'll show you the picture of my chest after I got.
Oh yeah, because I'm assuming like a lot of the wrestlers are like, who's this like?
Well, it was like
comedy.
it was
bitch coming
funny.
in?
I mean,
Yeah.
it was kind of like I knew enough about wrestling. It was like I was blind to the idea. I knew they were gonna like kick my ass or whatever, you know. And
You didn't train at all, though?
but I didn't realize it.
Did they teach you to bump before they?
Right before, like a 5-minute thing, but that's I got a dick-shaped scar on my not a
that's pretty
scar,
cool.
but right after I did it,
It's pretty
it was
tight.
like I was all bloody and shit from
They chop you?
strange dude's fingernails.
Yeah.
I got chopped. I was in a battle royal. I got chopped
Okay,
by
yeah,
like
that's what it is.
by
Okay.
like
Yeah, that makes
25
sense.
dudes,
Yeah,
and Dune was all hurt. We were like hurt after
that's
both
pretty
of
great
us. But it was fun. It was a cool thing.
Yeah.
Were you late to wrestling, or would you like whole life type of thing?
No, I liked it a little bit when I was a kid, but never like a super big fan. And then like
Yeah.
at like
I used to do
age
I used
30,
to
I
have
got
a
into
promotion
it.
out of my backyard, like a shitty backyard one, and then I trained at.
I love Tyler interrupting while eating salad. Interrupting.
Shit on his
Me,
face.
Dan hasn't spoken in 5 minutes.
Oh, I
He
got
finally
nothing-
says
I got
one
nothing
thing.
on this.
These
You
two know
interrupt.
nothing. They don't know.
Wipe your mouth.
I've been.
It
It seems like a lot of people in comedy are into wrestling.
Yeah,
Like
that's
a lot of them.
comedy got me. Like my friend, it was just hanging out with Peter Martin and John Paul and Pat Barrett. It was like just to like their parties for the pay-per-view, Kona, like their parties for the pay-per-view were pretty fun. So I just started going to those, and it's like anything. Like there was this year where I got into NASCAR because I just had a roommate who was into it, and once he like explained like the guys that hate each other and what they're trying to do, I was like, oh, this is interesting. You can watch anything once you're into it, but the comedy and wrestling shit, it really is. The business is super similar. It's like a handshake business. It's like a business where you gotta like you don't really know what's going on. They just they do a lot of shit for free, hoping they'll one day be paid. And
what do they do? Like VFWs and shit?
Yeah, all kinds of shit. All kinds of random.
They did it in the Kelly Cellar parking lot one time.
Really?
It was fucking sick, actually.
Yeah, they do it everywhere.
Oh man.
I did one. We did a show this summer, and there was like right before us was the wrestling show that was ending in the same room.
Oh, that's fun.
It was pretty
Did
cool.
you guys do it in the middle, like in the round?
I know. It was just like a bunch of. The crowds are fun too. I only went to one like WWE like big one.
Yeah.
At the Garden, and it was like just a fucking. It was like the weirdest crowd.
You get a bunch of Tylers on the audience.
Those people.
Yeah.
No, there's more
Must
like
be mutants.
It's like a lot of children.
A lot of
in the WWE
children and
shows.
their parents who are like. The parents just look like, what did I fucking bring my kid to?
Right.
Because like the middle-aged people are like fucking just.
Yeah.
I'm sure the
the
worst.
No, it's like
kind
I
of
spend
people.
my whole day protecting my child from pedophiles, and I brought them to a building full of like,
Right.
guys who look just like pedophiles.
Exactly. Like the guys that go to like those VFW shows that also go to WWE shows, like normal fans like hate those people because like they're the ones actually. No.
Yeah, I went to a
Like
Ring of
theories.
Honor show and that's kind of like
That's sick.
between the VFW hall and the
Yeah.
WWE. And
What
that,
year?
That was the scariest of all. I don't know if you. That was when Steen was like in his final.
All right, yeah.
thing.
I went to a bunch when he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Sorry, too much wrestling.
Talking wrestling.
I know. I like to talk
On a
wrestling.
podcast. Comedians talking wrestling on a podcast.
That's the name of the
Never
pod.
been done.
Nope.
Comedians talking wrestling at the pool table.
Groundbreaking. Yes.
I think
Yeah.
that there's. Is that one? There is a
What?
podcast.
I'm sure.
Oh, there's a
talking-
ton. No, there's a ton.
There's got to be a ton.
Let me say why I like the South Shore Boys.
Oh yeah, well,
You
that was our
guys-
next question.
Yeah. I like the South Shore Boys because you guys are. There was a long period of time in comedy where it was just nerds. It was just nothing but nerds.
Hell yeah.
And thanks to Logan and not you two.
Tough.
Now there's no. But it was like there
I feel
was
like a
not
nerd.
a dude like me and I don't know if you guys know Kyle Plouffe at all. Do you know him?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
We were.
He's my neighbor.
We started together and stuff, and there used to be all kinds of people in stand-up comedy, you know, and you could find
Right.
But for like a couple of years, there was like
It wasn't just college students from out of state.
everyone was just like, it was like a lame time, and I also feel the same way about like Higginbottom and
Yeah.
those
It was a
guys.
good
It's like,
crew. Yeah, Artie. and all
I mean,
them.
I'm happy. I think nerds are awesome. You know
Right.
what I mean? But it's like there was a weird couple of years where it was just like if you didn't fit into like a very specific kind of comedy, everyone just kind of brushed you off, like or.
Oh, that's.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like
Yeah.
a weird time, and it kind
I was
of.
gonna say, so like it was like kind of the content of their jokes were nerdy too.
Yeah, everything.
Okay.
It was just
That
a
whole-
weird.
Now, by nerdy, do you mean like just like hacky and?
Yeah, it's just this. Like, there's hack in all types of fucking comedy.
Yeah.
I think. Like,
It's just the style of doing
even
it.
doing.
Except for us four, but.
But I did a couple of shows over the month of December. I did a lot more like bar shows in Boston.
Right.
And I'm trying to do more and working on a lot of stuff. I'm like, I'm hearing the same jokes over and over more here than I do at clubs. Whereas I think a lot of these comics here though would be like, oh, it's just a bunch of hacks out there like doing clubs, you know. I'm like, these guys are better comics most of the time.
Yeah.
What, club comics?
Yeah, but sometimes you hear like there's like this dismissive sort of quality in the scene where it's like, yeah, like, I'm not really trying.
Yeah.
I'm not really trying to do this.
Right,
Like,
Yeah, well, a lot
right.
of people say it's like
There's like the bar show guys that only do the bar shows. Not that we do anything, like everything, but we're at least trying to get in everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there just seems to some people seem to have like an attitude of thinking like they're idiots for taking comedy seriously.
Yeah.
Like they like look down on people for like taking it seriously. It's like, why are you doing it if you don't take it seriously?
Yeah, there's always I guess there's always kind of been that clique of people, but they never ran the show like they did for a while.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of getting back to not even to like yeah, like white straight guys, yeah. But it's like just everyone deserves a spot, like not just
Right.
the business, even in Boston, which is kind of old school, like everyone can kind of just focus on this one thing for a little while when it's like the thing to do.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, that's what like Higginbot, like that whole crew and us a little bit. Like, I like the old Boston style. It seems
well,
kind of
just
nice.
jokes like
Yeah, right. Just straightforward
Yeah.
shit.
New
It's
York
not-
style too. It's
Yeah.
just like a fucking
I guess club, right?
yeah,
I think just funny. Like, I mean, you can do jokes, but I mean, I feel like there's too
Well,
much.
just in terms of like style,
I
like
feel like there's
versus
too much.
alt.
I hate this idea that like, what are you saying on stage?
Yeah.
Like, I hate that. Somebody said that the other day, and it really.
it's to me it's like it's like almost like a sport in the sense of like, all right, so let's say you take 10 comics and put them up at Nick's Comedy Stop, and then the same 10 comics you put them up at like every
Right. Yeah.
at every spot in Boston.
See who does well
Let's
where.
see who does the best at all of them, and I think that would, in my opinion, that's like the best comic because that's someone who
Right.
can sort
They're
of
versatile.
yeah, they can work.
Yeah.
They can work with whatever crowd is given to them.
Right.
But I see this thing sometimes where it's like, no, like every now and then I'll meet like an open micer who's almost like, well, I do real comedy, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
out
yeah.
there like making a living at it, and that's cute. But like, but I'm like a real comic, and I'm like, you don't even fucking understand what real comedy is.
Right.
It just drives me crazy.
Man, I want to know who you're talking about. Like, I know you're just talking in general.
Like for example, like the Bill Burr thing at
Oh,
Nick's
yeah,
Comedy
that's-
Stop. You
yeah.
guys heard
Yeah,
like
I
all
heard
about that shit. It was like that to me was the clearest line of who has some sort of respect for whatever this comedy thing is, and who has
And who's just doing
Right,
it just
yeah,
to do
yeah,
a
yeah.
comic.
who's just doing it because they think it's a fast track to some sort of fame besides YouTube or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
You know, you could absolutely just see because there were dudes like and women like dudes like Zach Brazel and
yeah.
and Trisha Ald and like just people who you kind of see a lot working on comedy. They were just standing and watching and like
Right,
enjoying
yeah.
the show. And then there were other people who don't do that much comedy, and some people I didn't even had never even seen before.
The delusion in those people is insane to me.
Yeah. I'm so shocked. I'm falling out
Why
of my
the prank?
chair.
The prank chair went off way too early.
But
Is
yeah,
that
it
chair
was like-
broken?
It was,
Yeah, it's wicked
yeah.
broken.
Why? Oh, I sat. Okay, that was my bad. Okay.
Did you just make a fat joke about yourself?
No, I should. It was rude of us to give you the broken
You're
chair.
like, yeah,
being
yeah, I
our
didn't
guest.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't know that was broken.
It's not. It's like
It's off the hinge.
I just kind of did like I was pontificating.
He was
on
being
how
wicked cool. He was
comics should
Chappelling.
act, and then I,
A really good sound clip. He's like, comics should act, more. Whoa!
it's like Ellen. Wow, he just touched Dan right on the upper thigh.
the hell, man?
That was hot.
Yeah.
Very softly.
I was into it.
Man.
But yeah, you could tell. You could just see, like this sort of. I mean, I've even dated chicks in the past who were like, I was like, all right, if you could be a comic for the rest of your life,
Right, yeah.
or
Like, what do you want to do with this?
I remember asking this girl I was dating. I was like, if you could be in a movie tomorrow, like you could be a movie star,
Yeah.
but the genie who gave you that wish, you could never do stand up again. Like you couldn't do it.
Oh yeah, we've
Like,
talked about this.
like
too.
if you tried to go on a stage, it would like be like a fucking magnet. You couldn't go on. And most times these chicks are like, I'd do the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well then, like, I would shoot myself if I
Then you
thought I
break
could
up
never
with
do
them.
stand-up comedy ever again.
Yeah.
It seems
Yeah.
like to that other stuff, like comedy's like a real estate to it. You know what I mean? Like that's what
Yeah.
you got when you get to a certain point.
And I think
Like,
there's guys
that's-
like that too, chicks and guys. Sometimes you meet a dude, you're like, oh, is this like
This
you
is
know,
like a cute
acting,
thing,
singing,
yeah.
dancing, acting didn't work out.
Right,
doing
right.
this.
Yeah, there's a
Well,
lot
that's
of
what
those.
I always say about like these headliners that come out of like MTV shows or like random podcasts that like
Yeah.
aren't really about comedy, but they're comedy podcasts. That like,
Yeah.
imagine getting to that level of fame where you can headline and you can like you've been actually a stand-up.
Oh, I know.
Right.
It must be,
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
it must be
yeah.
ideal.
You know,
like, just-
those are
yeah.
the people who everyone thinks is like a genius, you know, because it's
Yeah.
like
The ones who don't get in like 4 years.
Because
Like that-
I've opened for dudes who while they're developing their headlining set,
yeah.
like they're
And you probably
headliners.
crushed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but then they pass you because they are performing for like huge audiences all the
Right,
time.
right,
and their
right.
confidence is like off. But I've opened for Michael Che from SNL 3 times, and it was like the first 2 times I was like, I can't believe this guy does comedy, and then the last time you're like, oh, he's better than me, and he's like,
good.
he's
That's pretty tight.
He's a beast, but he was a perfect example of a guy who was already headlining when he only had 15 minutes of shit.
Yeah.
But who wouldn't? You
Well, that's
can't
like-
even blame the people because wouldn't all of us do this? Have done the same?
Well, that's
exact
Yeah, I
thing?
mean, what's he gonna do? Go like feature for somebody, and then
Yeah.
they all like fucking stand up and leave when he like finishes.
yeah.
Like he's kind of
You just have to-
doing what like he has to. I guess.
Yeah, you'd like to
Yeah,
think
I'll
that
take it.
I don't know.
Yeah, like that Jess
Like you
Hol-
definitely take it, but like it'd be hard.
It would be hard, and it could
Yeah.
fuck you. Like it
You're
could,
right, yeah,
It could
like-
pay off, and you could sort of survive it. Like even Amy Schumer, everyone acts like she just came out of nowhere. It's like she was famous like a year into comedy. She-
Right. Yeah.
and it happens to a lot of people, and it's just kind of like
Those girl code girls.
yeah, a lot of them disappear, but some of them
Yeah.
are still around. But I think they did learn how to
tell jokes.
do it on the way, because I was like the go-to feature act for girl code, guy code people.
Yeah?
I've opened
Really?
for like all of them.
Did they always?
One of my
were they
Andrew
always
Schultz is
bad?
one of those guys, and he's doing pretty good now.
Oh,
but
good. Okay.
I think a lot of them would admit that they got too much too soon. But some of them would also not admit that.
Schultz and then what was the other guy's name? He's like a good looking Stefano?
Yeah,
he was
he's-
one of them too,
yeah,
right?
he's one of them.
He's pretty funny.
He turned out all right.
See,
Yeah, yeah.
that must be great though. Like if you start as a comic, and then you go into that, and then all of a sudden you're headlining. You're like, oh, this was like a quicker way to start headlining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must be good.
Well, with Michael Che, like somebody like that, he has the benefit of like having Saturday Night Live to keep him relevant. So
Yeah.
he didn't have to put out like any material like in any real quick window of time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he could keep working as a comic and keep doing SNL, and people still know who he is.
Absolutely. And it's not really about, to us as comics, it's about who's funniest, they deserve to be headlining, or who's the best at it deserves to be headlining.
Right, yeah, it's
Right.
That's
just
just to us. Like
right.
to,
yeah.
It's really
To-
about the draw.
yeah, to an audience
Yeah.
member and to the businesses that we work for, it's about the draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have this weird code that no one else follows. So it's kind of like,
Right.
It's like Instagram people.
yeah, and they don't give a fuck like how much time you do or how much time they do and how
Right.
much better they are than you. And it's-
Right.
Like they're better than you because they knew who they were before they came to the show. That already makes them better than
Well,
you.
that's
in their
like when
mind.
like a shitty WWE guy like quits and then does an indie show, and all these guys are like he is so bad.
Yeah, yeah.
And, but he's a huge draw because he has a WWE name attached to him. It's the same thing.
100%.
Yeah.
You know,
A lot of crossovers.
there are, but I mean, what's like? There's a ton of, you'll see it in comedy all the time. Dudes will just start doing comedy, like Steve-O from Jackass,
Yeah.
like Mick Foley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one weekend on, there's only 52 weekends a year at every club, and so that's one weekend gone for a guy that does that's a real
Right,
comedian,
yeah.
you know. It's usually a guy like me. It's like, who's the least famous headliner? Noonan off, Steve-O on.
I guess that
But
sucks
it keeps
because that like Al Magic out.
too, right?
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
technically,
that's true.
right?
it's just part of it, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Even in like the Spider-Man comic book, which was like the 1960s, he instantly becomes a famous wrestler just because he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He didn't have to pay his dues.
Yeah, he wasn't
wrestling
working for a
scene.
hot dog anywhere.
Yeah,
No.
just was Spider-Man.
That's fair enough.
You sick or something,
thought of
Logan?
Yeah.
You under the weather?
Mm-hmm.
All right, good. I just thought you were. I thought you just like
a little
like Logan was the one who didn't want me on the show. He's like, all right, 2 out of 3, you guys win, but I'm not participating in the interview.
No, that was like a wheezy laugh.
Cool.
But
Oh,
that's
yeah.
like Al Madrigal. I thought was kind of a dick for blasting Steve-O on Joe Rogan's podcast. But now that I think about it like that, I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Like both those, everyone has a right to work and do this shit. It's like that day I wrestled, I took a spot from a dude.
Exactly.
who
Yeah,
wanted
that's
to
what I was
wrestle,
saying back then.
You know, and sometimes
That's probably why they kicked the shit out of you so hard. Too.
Yeah, and
Like,
it's-
people that like actually.
Oh,
like,
100%.
were wrestlers. Yeah, that's what they
I mean,
do.
personally, I knew all that ahead of time, so I was kind of like
Right, yeah.
humble and apologetic. And it was also though, Dune probably sold a few tickets, so it was
Yes.
like that's why we were.
Oh, is
there.
that when he was like
The Vine
big?
Yeah, that was when
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
at
yeah.
the height of it.
What happened to that guy?
Dude, I went to
Logan Paul.
Oh,
yeah. Did you hear about that
Yeah.
shit?
Yeah, I heard it. Well, I just kind of heard dead body, suicide forest.
Yeah, and he was like vlogging it and made like a joke. And now his career is probably like ruined.
Really?
It seems like it.
I thought those guys, those Paul brothers, were like unruinable.
He's getting fucking
Railed today.
real flack today.
Are they just like good-looking dudes? Like, what is it?
Yeah,
Pros.
dude. Well, they're like acting now. Like YouTube is making like original content, and like he's like their fucking
Who's this guy?
star.
He's one of the Vine guys, like one of the big
yeah, he's
Vine
like
guys.
a good-looking like.
I think they
blonde
were on
kid.
Disney. They were on like a Disney sitcom, right?
I think his brother was. I
Oh,
read,
really?
and he like left it. I don't know. I didn't like him anyways, and I'm happy that his career's over.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
those. I think that shit, that flash of social media stardom is sort of already fading out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it's just like
It's that quick
we've seen
15,
it all.
Yeah. Yeah, no one's really around from that burst of like YouTube.
They
Yeah.
are, dude. That's the crazy thing. It's like they're not as much in your like
Yeah, I mean,
world, but they're
exactly.
still living off that.
Yeah,
I
a
mean,
lot
Jess
of people.
Hilarious sold
Yeah.
out left.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And I had never
Big
heard.
time.
I
I
said
never
her
heard
to
of her.
someone. They're like, "Who the fuck is that?" I was
She's
like,
got the funniest videos.
Now I'm her
on
biggest fan. I'm gonna
Instagram.
go-
I
I'm gonna
swear
go
to
a
God,
makeup show tomorrow.
they're amazing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there making fucking millions of dollars that none of us have heard of.
yeah. Instagram.
Twitch, even
And I
those
mean,
video games.
funny is subjective, but not good. Not good. A lot of them.
Drew Dunn was telling me he like
It's funny is
had some
subjective.
video where he's playing video games.
Yep.
He's got like 2 million hits.
Jesus Christ.
It's like him, him like playing video games and doing voices.
Doing voices though. Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I was picturing.
Yeah, voices.
Whoa. Is he on Twitch? Yeah. Is
I don't
Yes,
think-
what?
I think so.
that what you said?
Yeah, I think so,
I
right?
think that's what it was.
No,
I
he
mean, how
didn't
else
say
would
that.
you do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can get paid for that, right?
Yeah, I know.
hell
There's,
yeah,
there's
you get
people
paid
that
for
make like so much money
Yeah.
off Twitch.
That's
I tried to
It's
do
like
it
the
for-
Patreon of like video game playing.
Yeah.
Ryan
super.
Barker has like a setup now. In his
Why
room.
would you ever
So wait,
want
you
to
can just-
watch
do my
someone
podcast
else
on
play
there.
video
You can just play
games?
I- we
video
were saying
games
that
and
too.
talk?
Yeah.
You just play video games and talk?
You play
Yeah.
video games and you just commentate over the video
I have
game.
a
Oh
few
my
videos
God.
on
I
Do you
play
really?
GTA 5
On
all the
Twitch?
time.
Yeah.
Is that what you're supposed to do? Like, does it have to be for video games?
No.
No,
That's
there's
just like
there's a
the
podcast.
primary use.
Yeah,
Do
they have like
podcasts,
they
talk shows.
I think it's called talk shows category. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a lot in real life where you
Yes.
just talk to it. People ask you shit, but
Oh, like a live one?
yeah,
Oh, that's fun.
it's pretty fun. Like,
Yeah.
but I mean,
I used to be-
honestly, it was fun. I like had fun with it for like 3 days, and then I was like, all right, fuck this.
I used to like
Like,
chat roulette.
Moving over
What
to
did I used to
Chatabate.
use? Not
yeah,
Chat roulette.
I used to like chat roulette when I was younger, but there was this thing when I used to have
dark.
a podcast.
Your eyes went dark for a second.
Yeah,
You're
a lot
like,
of
you
fun
stared
stuff.
off in the distance and then just saw 1,000 cocks.
That was the first time I ever used chat roulette. We were like, "Is it gonna be a dick?" And we were like, "Huh, what is that actually?" And then like slowly we realized it was like a guy rubbing his like sweatpants. We're like, "Oh, it's okay. It's
yeah.
basically a dick."
I used to do so many bits on chat roulette, like lots of them.
2 people?
Like bits where you.
No, I wouldn't like.
I would
do
like pull my dick out.
No, I
Just like a
don't know if I
clown.
told you guys this one before, but like it would be like me and my friend Dennis and my girlfriend at the time, Sam, and we'd all be sitting there, and it would just be Sam. Well, we wouldn't all be sitting there. Just on the camera would be Sam typing, and she'd be like flirting with the guy, and then she'd be like, "Do you want me to like?" She'll like take off her sweatshirt or something, and he'd be like, "Do you want to see any more?" And the guy was like getting all into it, and then she'd be like, "Okay, 1 second." She'd put her hand up, and then I'd cover it. She would get out of the frame, and then Dennis would get in frame with his shirt off and stuff like that. And
Really?
I'd reveal it, and they would always just be like, "Oh, a dude," and they'd flick it up because it's homophobic.
Wow.
And we also used to have Jen's dog on there. We just hold treats behind the camera, and then I would type as the dog from an external camera keyboard.
Wow.
You should start doing that again.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah. I could have made money off that chat roulette. I know
could've
a
been a
girl who
millionaire.
dates a guy that she met on chat roulette years ago.
Shut the fuck
She
up.
met him like 10 years ago on chat roulette. And now
Must have the biggest dick. He must like sling
now
it
it's
over.
now it's her boyfriend.
Just lay it.
Some
Hype.
guys' dicks are so big. Like,
He lives
that's
in-
how.
He lives in New York and she lives in Weymouth.
You just present it.
and they date now. His
Wow.
name's Matt. I call him Matt Roulette.
That's
How would you even? What are you like?
I don't know. They must have stayed in touch. I don't know. They must have been kids or something.
Kids.
Or whatever.
What a
Whatever's
great
younger.
story.
they were just kids.
Yeah, how
Yeah. You're just kids
Little dick.
masturbating.
Yeah, well, I was swiping. I saw a bunch of dicks. Then I saw your father.
I
That's the
remember
story.
a lot of those dicks you would see were lit by. It was a completely dark room and just the screen
It was just the-
lighting them. So
Yeah.
it wasn't just like a dick, but it was like a scary
There's always
Halloween.
It was a
dick.
spooky dick.
Yeah, ghost story lighting.
the worst part of the dick behind, like the
Yeah,
front
yeah.
end. Yeah. It's the worst part. It looks the weirdest.
No, I think about that too. Like,
That must have been,
did
like,
you ever
the-
see, because I saw a porno, the shot from that angle. And I was like, you never think about like the angle a chick sees your dick. I don't know. I'm talking about dicks. I took the mic away.
You're using it.
It was too gay.
It's like you know that. But like I was like, oh yeah, you never think about how your dick looks from
Up.
that.
Yeah,
angle.
yeah, yeah.
It's not a good angle.
Or upside down or whatever
Upside
you're
down,
into.
you say.
69.
But to us, it's always one
Checks
angle.
out.
We have
Yeah, right.
one POV.
You do that in the mirror,
Yeah.
it's an odd look.
I know.
Get a weird look at the scene.
I beat off last night. I beat off last night for the first time in like a week and a half.
What?
Yeah.
Whacked
You did?
it?
You looked at it?
I beat off last night for the first time.
First time in a
I
week
looked at
and a
my dick
half?
last night for the first time in a week and a half. I checked in and it's still there.
Wait a minute. Why? Why for a week and a half?
It's just been a while.
You just busy?
Yeah, I'm just so busy.
Tyler's like an asexual
Tyler's- yeah,
human being.
Do you
Tyler-
take antidepressants?
Yeah,
I was
that's
gonna
what it
say
is.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
for
my
sure.
God.
Yeah.
That's like anti though.
That's why you'll have a month or go times stretches without it.
Wait,
Yeah.
are you saying that
What do
I'm
you take?
depressed because I beat off?
That's what I mean. Yeah, like that seems like the opposite.
No,
it
it's
stops
the
you from
an-
beating
It
off.
stops you from going too far in any direction. So
Ah.
it's sort of like super happy, super sad,
Well,
super anything.
They were wrong. They were
Sounds
right
like I
when they
need
said
those.
before I even took antidepressants, I didn't have too much of a sex drive. I like to emotionally.
You smoke pot?
Yeah, every once in a while.
Well, every once in a while won't affect that.
I've been smoking pot like every night the past week.
Tyler's more of a
Wait, what?
mind games guy.
Smoking weed affects your libido.
That's what
Oh,
they
for
say.
sure. Yeah, it
I
has
don't
to.
think so.
I don't think it's
boys.
real.
Right?
Yeah. I don't
No,
think
it
so.
doesn't.
Yeah.
I switched my
Huh?
opinion, so I didn't have to argue.
Come on.
I didn't want it to understand, so I switched my argument.
What antidepressant do you take?
Celexa.
Yeah, you do. Celexa.
Mm-hmm. Celexa. Fix my depression.
That's fun.
Thank you.
Fix
Yeah.
my
I opened with
Orexa.
that. Huh? Fix my Orexa.
Orexa.
Orexa. Orexa, please.
Whoa,
Get to me
dude.
soap.
That's
No,
fine.
nothing.
Get you soap.
I don't know. You
They
can
had-
ask for soap on Alexa.
They had enough trouble making that toy.
It's not a toy.
It's not a toy.
I want one of them. I want to Google
I like
whatever.
it.
That'd be funny, actually, if an Asian person couldn't use it. It was like,
Alexa.
it's like Alexa.
Did you guys see the thing with the?
I saw a
the-
video with an
you might have
Italian
showed
lady.
me.
She couldn't use it.
The-
She kept going, go, go. Go, go.
They had the new phone has like the face recognition thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And did one of you guys show me? And like it confused two Asian people.
Oh, that's
like some
tight.
other Asian was able to break into an Asian's phone by
That's
looking
great.
at it.
Oh, that's
It's probably the one who
hilarious.
made it.
yeah.
She scans her face into it. 9-year-old child.
Yeah.
Man,
They all do look young.
imagine fucking. So you could just take a picture of your face and the phone opens?
No,
No.
it's like PS4
Wait, we have
does
talked
it.
about this because we've said, imagine if your situation.
Well, no. Is that what it is?
No, you go. It's like the same thing as your thumb.
PS4, you've seen that?
But you would use your face instead.
Oh, yeah.
So that no one
Recognizes
can
it.
get in besides you.
Oh boy.
That
like a
way,
movie.
they've heard of breaches where other people would use other people's thumbs
I
to
think
get in
you
the
have
phone.
to be
Hide your
awake.
phones. Hide your thumbs.
Right? I think you have to look awake.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm basically saying, I'm,
Not
I'm
Asian?
basically saying you don't have to worry about your thumb.
No, yeah, you're
pal.
Yeah. That's the concern.
yeah. That's a real concern, though, isn't it?
It really is. I sleep like this.
That's fucking crazy.
It's like
Sleep in a sleeping bag. Yeah. You wear gloves on your thumbs so no one can. Only your thumbs. You tape cloth around your thumbs so that no one can ever get
Just
your
burn my fingerprints off.
Like, I don't. You can guess which finger I use over my phone, but none of them. All burned.
Oh, that'd be funny if you burn your fingerprints off.
How deep of a sleeper are you though? That like, you like a weekend at
pass out.
Bernie's? Oh yeah, that's true.
I can't
I was
sleep.
all passed out.
Speaking of drinking, the past like 2 weeks I've been drinking, and then I can't sleep unless I drink, and it's a real issue now.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
We're getting fucking real.
Yeah. Last night I could
Now
not.
we know how the salad is going on. Life changes.
Every time I stop, like I'll drink for like 3 or 4 days straight, and I'll take a night off, and then I won't be able to sleep at all, and I'll have to take like melatonin or something.
Yeah.
That's a real. I mean,
Melatonin works for you?
Yeah.
So jealous, dog.
no, it's you know it might be dog.
Melatonin doesn't do shit for me.
No.
Do you
no,
think you
they
need
don't-
to be
there's no
like? Do you need to
taste.
be drunk to fall asleep, or just a little buzzed
I think
to fall
I
asleep?
think if I just have alcohol in my system, I feel more comfortable and at home in my body.
I don't have trouble
not so
falling
bad.
asleep when I don't smoke.
That's another thing too, because I've been adding weed on top of it because I don't usually smoke, and I've been smoking every night. And then last night I didn't drink or smoke, and I was just like up all night.
Well, I mean that's not that crazy. I mean, even if if I don't smoke weed for a full day,
Well, aren't you?
it'll take me an extra.
But you guys, you smoke weed like every day, like.
Yeah,
Smoke
most
I don't. I don't.
Wait, was
at all.
I don't drink every night to fall asleep either. Like so.
You coming at me right now?
I'm not here. These mics aren't even on, bro.
Oh fuck! I led into my
That'd be
own
the best way to
intervention.
intervene you.
Yeah, we just figured.
I brought it up too. You like just give it some time.
we didn't want to
we'll
go to
talk about
Abington,
it.
so
What'd you say?
we didn't want to go to Abington.
Oh,
Pass
yeah.
any Abington salads.
yeah,
yeah.
I'm really hammering you on that one.
It's okay. I don't even live in Abington, so
That's true.
What's the name of the town?
I live in Weymouth.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's not so bad.
Yeah, I grew up a few houses down from Kyle Pluth, like I said. Pluth. I've been watching a lot of Arrested Development.
Wait, is
Murphy
last night when you beat off?
Last night's the night I beat off.
That's why you're
funny.
stuttering.
Yeah, couldn't sleep.
That's why I beat
It's like,
off.
well, might as well beat off.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Did
thought it
that
would
work?
help. I peed out my window too. I used to do that a lot.
Did you go to
the fuck?
P-Fit yesterday?
What?
Did you go to P-Fit yesterday?
No.
So you did nothing all day. You did no exercise.
No exercise.
No smoking weed. No
No
drinking.
smoking weed, no drinking.
And then you're like, why can't I fall asleep? It's because your body was still full of energy.
You think that's what it was?
And then you needed to disperse it by loving yourself.
I loved myself, all right. Shot a sock to the ceiling.
Do you ever think that hell might just be like
No
you,
socks.
like a video of you all the times you beat off, like, and how sad
Ooh,
that would
boy.
be?
No, that'd be great.
Oh my god, that'd be a long video.
It'd be a
already.
long video, but I always like.
Oh, maybe wait.
You have your moments where you probably look like all right doing it, but most of the time it's like
That's why you have.
it's like a dead, like just.
I keep it real.
Yeah.
That's why.
Just
How
have a
long
joke
have we been
about-
watching this? A year. How many days have we gone by? 3 days.
Yeah, that's why you're not supposed to beat off in this life, because the afterlife, if you beat off, you have to watch it all in hell before you can get to heaven. So the
Oh,
more you beat
man.
off, the longer it takes for you to get
It
to.
would just be the
golden
longest.
gates.
Maybe that's the punishment. It's just how long it would be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I used to have a bit about how like when the screen goes black, you can see yourself. The computer screen.
Oh my god, locking eyes with yourself on like the bars in a wide screen or
No,
whatever.
then you just get to beat off again immediately.
Yeah, it's rough.
Not a big beater offer.
Not a big beater.
Not a big
offer.
porn guy or anything.
No.
You don't look at porn. What do you do?
Imagination.
I just
Use your
imagine.
Thinks about his
Yeah.
cousin.
Imagination.
No.
Yeah, that's fucking. I think that's almost darker than porn.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm sure Tyler's imagination is definitely darker.
Oh yeah.
Can
Lot
we
of
ask
kids.
like what was what was on last night? What was on Tyler TV?
I was on Tyler TV last night.
One of the doors?
No, it wasn't. Actually, it was my ex-girlfriend Amanda, because Logan had mentioned her breasts at a moto, and I was like,
Nice. I love the honesty. That's so
So then I
good.
went home and I tried to look at old pictures of her to like refresh my memory, but she's blocked me on everything. So I
Wonder why?
I followed her one
Maybe
of her
because
old.
chicks don't like being beaten off too.
Yeah.
Don't get another
Natalie.
girlfriend not listening to this pod. Or ex-girlfriend.
Oh no,
Who
that
cares?
one's fine too. Actually, I think they all hate me right now. To be honest, I'm back on that.
All three?
Yeah.
I continually fuck myself with women on my
Yeah,
own
yeah.
podcast
What stories? Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
You talk about your
We
life.
had a big one with one of my exes, but after that, I don't think we've had anybody tune out yet.
I
Does Kelly
exaggerate
still
too.
listen?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta.
make them sound like horrible, like twats most of
I
the time.
under-exaggerated.
Yeah.
I under-exaggerated mine. Like, I mean, we don't have to rehash it, but she fucked Dan, and like,
Oh, right.
and I was just like okay with it, and she's like, "Don't talk about me on the show." I was like, "I'm talking about how okay. I don't care what happened."
Oh
But-
shit!
Yeah, that's how me and Tyler became friends.
Really?
No,
Oh, that's pretty.
No, this is a story.
Were you guys friends before that though, for real, or is that
I
how?
thought so,
Tyler
yeah.
thought we were.
And then Dan felt so guilty after doing that to someone who considered him a friend. He was like, "I might as well be this kid's friend now."
Ah, that's funny.
Yeah, it's a
That's
true
right.
story of
It's a
friendship.
touching story.
Yep, and now I'm gonna return his
So I
small
feel
work.
like me and Dan are not friends yet, and I don't want to be.
Oh, he's waiting for it.
When you say January 13th?
No, that's when she's
I
back.
had my
Noonan-
chair
Noonan's
broke 'cause it was
dropping.
awkward.
She's back the 13th. They'll break up the 15th.
Oh my god.
That's my prediction.
All right.
Break up the 15th. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
The biggest
You
bit.
and your girlfriend?
Yeah,
for sure.
No, we're not.
That's
Yeah, no.
there is a waiting list, Will. Okay? Relax.
Yeesh.
I like that our biggest. I just realized our biggest bit is just being like overly honest. That's the move. It's just.
That's
Wait,
my.
That's why a good hang was so.
What do you mean overly honest?
Overly honest. Yeah. You guys are what the fuck happened there? You guys are all just waiting on Logan.
No.
That weed and tobacco, bro.
That came out wrong.
Oh man, that was great.
This dude's trying to fuck my girl, son.
Fun bit.
Damn.
Let's save her number. So.
I tried to ask your girl for her number, like I think before you started dating her at an open mic one time.
Oh, really?
It was pretty funny. Like I could tell she was like, and it was. I remember feeling especially bad because I asked for. I don't think I even asked for a number. I just said like, "What's up?" and she was obviously like, "Hey, what's up?" and kept going. And then she bicycled off. That was the part that I felt was like the biggest. You ever been like
You should do a bit about
a
that.
girl
and see
gives
if
you
she
the
catches
cold
on.
shoulder and then she's like bicycling away?
She does
I
ride a bike.
think I am still like wonder about it sometimes. I don't know if it was her, but
She rides
Oh,
a
she
bike.
rides a bike. Yeah.
Like a witch.
Yeah.
Wait, where'd you
What,
see?
what mic was it?
Oh,
it
was
was
that
like
a
at
mic?
Tavern at the End of the World or something, and I was just like, I was just actually just being like, if I'm being honest, I was probably gonna hit on her, but I was really just being like, "What's up?" But you never know. Sometimes
I
you're
still
nice
do,
'cause
so
you're
you're
nice,
good.
and sometimes you're nice because
That didn't land.
they're
I
good
slid
looking
into
chicks.
those DMs, son.
Yeah, you know.
That's the move.
That's the move.
DMs is the move for comics and females.
It's they slide into.
Oh,
yours.
hey, here's a
Yeah,
funny.
right.
Here's a funny thing.
Uh-oh.
Speaking of comics and females, I once went on a few dates with a comic. Well, open mic. I don't know. She
Yeah,
does
yeah.
comedy.
You're a comic, man.
No, I'm talking about her. By on New Year's
I was
Eve.
just being nice. I'm
I'm not telling my story.
I want to hear it. Tie,
Oh,
tie.
man.
Hey,
All right,
Tell your
sorry
story.
you're gay.
we're all sorry. Masturbate right now.
Imagine us apologizing.
The opposite of the Louis situation.
Yeah, you mess
Beat off in front
We
of me.
demand you do it.
No, I went on her Instagram and I liked 3 of her pictures in a row. And then she messaged me and she was like, "Thanks for the likes, LOL." And then we went on a date a few days later.
See, that's one way.
And then this year on New Year's Eve, I was really drunk and I was like, "It'd be funny if I did it again." So I went on, I went to her page, I liked 3 of her pictures, and she messaged me and said that was one of the greatest callbacks I've ever seen.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That's fun.
It was lighthearted. It's fine.
That's great.
Yeah.
Who is she?
I'll tell you
Can't say
off
it.
mic.
Yeah.
Kelly Vernon.
Nora
did the same
Cashel.
Yeah, it's Nora.
Oh boy.
Nora Cashel. She's a good girl. I don't know if she still does.
Yeah,
comedy.
Dan's trying to see what.
Oh yeah, isn't he?
South Shore Boyz.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hashtag South
You
Shore
can cut that out.
Yeah, that's what gets us to try. You might be a South Shore boy.
You guys are a bunch of dogs.
You're trying to fuck your best friend's friend.
That's what I'm talking about. Those nerds, they don't fuck. You know what I'm saying? Those nerds in comedy, they don't fuck chicks.
I feel like the nerds fuck like a lot. It's just like the people you don't want to fuck.
Yeah,
the nerds
They
fucking-
are the ones who have like weird, like, oh yeah, I'm into
I was gonna say they fuck.
multiple partners and
Hell
open
yeah, dog.
marriage. You know,
Yeah,
have
because
like
they
10
never
minutes
used to
on
fuck,
it.
so now they like.
I get it.
yeah.
Yeah,
they're
they
on
have
a
like
tear.
10 minutes on it. How much they fuck because they fuck.
I used
That's
to.
what it is. It's either depression or
I had a
fucking.
burp after that.
I'm depressed, and so there's that.
Yeah.
And I take pills, but I don't know if that's how pills work. You know, it's
Stop
like
doing
the
Tyler's
same-
That sounds like my act.
You have anxiety jokes, right?
No. I mentioned that
It's
I'm
hard to
anxious.
do. I've tried to sort of. Do
I
bits
don't
of
have
that.
jokes about anxiety. I mention that I'm anxious sometimes.
Joe List has some good anxiety.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I hear them and I'm like, oh, I can't do this.
Yeah, it's just.
I was writing a joke about a panic attack like the week his album came out, and I was like, oh.
It's super hard though. Like, I try to do that too. I mean, it's so hard. It's one of those things that's just
Well,
so
it's
fucking hard to make people like
Ang-
care about.
You're like, boo, I'm sad.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so hard to stand out and not sound just like you're whining.
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's a hard thing to do, man. Sometimes
Yeah.
you just gotta like. You're like, oh yeah, I am an entertainer in some fucking respect.
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Sure, yeah.
No, trying
But
to
it's hard
bum
though,
people
'cause, like it's hard to find interesting things to talk about.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Like when my brother came out as gay, it was like the greatest thing that ever happened to me because I was like, now I have one fucking.
That's like when I hit the
thing
kid
that's
with,
not
when I hit the kid
typical.
with my car. I was like, well, at least I can do something.
Yeah.
with this.
Godsend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you.
And
hit
it was
him.
fine too. It all worked out. It was great. And that's why like all my stuff's about like breakups.
That's why I
Like,
think
haven't had a
anxiety and
relationship or a
depression is so
breakup.
big right now because everyone has it. So it's like everyone's talking about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And breakups and dating have always been comedy
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah, I only talk
Everything.
about pussy.
it's the same thing though. Like a lot of the guys I open for, the older guys, it's just all marriage and kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just people, and which is fine too. People just want to hear. You just have to have a
You
real
gotta have that
unique way.
personality.
Yeah,
yeah.
You have to be a really likable person.
But I think with stuff like anxiety and depression and stuff, sometimes it's kind of like the crowd is just like, yeah, okay. It'd be like if I was up there and I'd be like, man, my fucking knee hurts. It hurts so bad. Like it hurts in the morning. It hurts at night. Sometimes my knee hurts so bad, like I don't even go out, you know? And they'd be like, bummer. Next joke.
Yeah,
you know?
It's a pretty
kinda-
good joke, though.
It's kind of the same thing. But even I try to do some bits about quitting drinking, and it took me longer. It's just you just have to like break the tension of that topic.
Right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's that. It took like fucking.
It's like you have to
months.
break that you don't want to have sympathy.
Yeah, you
or-
don't want sympathy.
Yeah,
you don't
right.
want applause, especially if you're trying to do a regular kind of like easy joke about it. But it took forever to get them to not derail the entire fucking set just by being like, I quit drinking.
Right, yeah, yeah,
And all of
yeah.
a sudden it's like, ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get off the stage, bummer.
Yeah, you know. And literally they're like, oh, like they're drinking
yeah,
their
yeah,
favorite
yeah.
cocktail. that
Oh,
they've
he's about to
been waiting all
preach.
week
That's
for,
what he's
and they're
gonna
like,
And you should all quit as well.
yeah.
We need a preaching comic.
That Buddha book
Kidding.
he gave me,
Yep.
the whole book, like I love the guy, but everything he says, he's like, you got to stop drinking
I was
and
gonna
doing
bring that-
drugs, and
I was
I'm
gonna
like, damn it.
Intoxication, yeah.
I was gonna bring that up to you, where like you as like more of a pothead than a drinker, I would say, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
I
it
mean, you're
works.
definitely an alcoholic.
Works better when
too,
I'm high.
yeah.
No, I'm
But-
not an alcoholic. I'm a bitch.
But like,
I barely
like,
drink.
I remember reading that book. I was like, why can't I just be like a pothead instead? Because like, is smoking weed is so like accepted amongst like Eastern cultures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So-
I don't know.
I don't know about that in reality. I think in
A lot of Eastern
Hindu
countries you
is-
go to super jail for.
yeah, I think in Japan, I think in the
Super
Japanese Buddhists and stuff wouldn't do it. But they did something else that was crazy.
LSD.
LSD and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Opium.
Yeah. I mean,
There's a lot of LSD in there. But I mean, like Eckhart Tolle's had things where he's like, I smoked weed before, like I didn't feel anything because my mind's so quiet. It's like
yeah,
it's
he's
like gay stuff like that. But but like
all I feel
Dabs
is-
have helped an
it's
immense
definitely
amount.
more accepted than
Dabs?
drinking.
Yeah, I just started doing dabs.
You like 'em?
Ooh, baby.
You like 'em?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
fun.
wow,
It's
fucking
like you get
What's
scared
your,
again.
What's your take on
I just-
dabs?
for me, I think they're just it's too much fucking weed for me. Like it was, but I was
Yeah.
doing the bong hits with the torch and shit. Is that what you're doing?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that shit fucking.
I was like, this is a drug high. I'm not a. It was too much for me, man. Me and my buddy Pat did it, and we each had like a different reaction, kind of. But
As
I
did
almost had
Logan.
like an anxiety attack. I was like right on that
my first
precipice.
my first
I
big
had
anxi-
like a heavy anxiety attack.
Really?
Oh, yeah,
I thought I was
it
dying.
really funny. Yeah.
So funny.
It was right we had a guy on the podcast who like sold that.
He like he like
He
made
extracts
shatter and
Yeah.
blue
What
glass
happened?
and shit.
And he was like, "Do you watch?" my-"
Logan.
fucking man.
Yeah, I can tell it.
This
fucking-
motherfucker was shaking
He
in that
is-
chair
he
over
was
there.
I've seen it happen at
Standing
10.
up, shaking, sitting back down, shaking, standing.
I've seen
up.
it happen to a lot of
And he-
people.
Dude, he was like, that was probably 4 joints worth of weed that you just like
Oh, yeah.
took in. I was like,
Yeah,
and then this kid's like explaining the science of like my body.
He has the most stoic voice.
Yeah, it's very murdery.
was like-
Was it on the show? On this show?
No, it was right
right
after.
after, but
He
it
he was
right
on the
here.
show.
The
yeah.
pool table looked like it was like
Yeah.
fucking a
the
million miles
worst.
long. I was like,
I was on vacation with this chick I was dating, and I brought dabs, and I brought like the rig with me,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything like that, and I was like fucking like going hard because I
Right,
was on
yeah,
vacation.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
And I just remember like this chick walks into like the kitchen, and I'm like heating up
Yeah,
the
it's
fucking
not a
thing
good
off the
sight.
stove, and she comes in, and she just goes, "I don't like that."
Yeah,
She's like, "I do not like that at all." It's so funny. I'm like, "Get out of here! Don't look at me."
Yeah, I told our other 2 roommates, I was like, listen, guys, I started doing dabs, so if you ever walk in on me, I'm not like smoking meth now.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
No, I found the high
But
to
it's
be
fun.
a little. My roommate, me and my buddy Pat had kind of the same thing. I was like, "Fuck, I'm not into this."
yeah.
yeah.
I just had to lessen it a little bit, but it was just too fucking harsh.
Mm.
And then, but my roommate liked it a little bit more because of like the money saving qualities. Because he's
Yeah,
like, "Oh, I
yeah.
can smoke like a little bit of this and be fucking."
Yeah.
But I've seen guys. There was a comic who got really into it, and then he started smoking dabs all day, every day, and then it just became the same as weed for him. But his
Yeah.
tolerance was so high,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
couldn't even
That's
smoke
crazy,
like.
man. That's probably
That-
like on, right?
That happened to me the other day, where it was like the second day I was doing them, I was just here alone, just doing it one after another. At one point, I was like, I'm kind of high right now.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, they
That's
kill your
crazy.
tolerance pretty quick
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, if I smoke like half a joint, I would be on the floor.
I used to throw away weed when I was younger. I would have someone roll me a blunt, and then I would
you told me
smoke
about that. You
like
smoked a little bit of it.
3 or 4 hits of it, and then I'd get so paranoid for having the weed that I'd throw it away.
I've done.
I'm
stuff
so
like that
mad at
before.
myself.
I've done that with Coke before.
Yeah,
One line of Coke, and then like, what?
Yeah,
the
I felt that
fuck?
way
And throw it all away.
and then you're digging through the trash.
Nah, I did that like a few times when I was like 20, 21. I was like, I just thought, because I was like, I'm older than you guys, so it was like Geraldo and Dave Attell were like my heroes. So I
Yeah.
was just like, I'm just gonna do some Coke. I would buy Coke and be like, I'm a comic, I'm gonna do some Coke.
I mean,
And then
there's,
I'd do it, and I'd be like, ah.
there's a big Coke scene still, right? I'm assuming.
It's back, yeah. I've noticed it a lot more.
Welcome back, Coke.
Comes back. Comes and goes.
Glad to have you.
My
bud.
experience.
I liked it. I've only done it that once, but
I've never done Coke.
really
and I
like
feel like
it
the way I
anymore.
just said that made me.
I really
feel
liked.
like
I'm a big Adderall guy. That's like the
Adderall's
that's
better.
the jam.
That's the jam. I wanted to try lean. I was like, I wanted to try that, but then someone was like, it's basically like an opioid, right?
What is that?
Yeah, it
Like
is.
Scissor
Well,
or
it's,
whatever.
yeah, it's
Like heroin.
the drink?
promethazine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's like, yeah, it's a liquid.
I was like, I want to try
painkiller.
that. I hear it's awesome. And
Is
they're
it-
like, well, why don't you just do like
heroin.
Oxycontin or heroin? It's the same thing. And then I was like, oh, it's the same thing.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say the same thing. I mean, similar to Oxycontin, probably.
Yeah.
I would do it once. I mean, I've done like painkillers. I've done OCs and perks. Like, I don't.
Me too, but not in a long time.
Yeah.
Real South Shore shit,
High
boys.
school, yeah. High school, I did all that shit. Snorted Valiums in high school at Milton High.
I used to do K-pins and they'd hurt.
Oh, that's like
They'd
that's
hurt?
the best shit ever.
Wait,
Yeah,
what do
yeah.
you
Well,
mean?
I used to snort Adderall. I'm saying a lot here. I used to snort Adderall, but then I
Snorted truth serum before
yeah,
this
yeah.
podcast.
I did K-pin and it just hurt.
Klonopin for
What do
the
you mean?
non
The
hit
Klonopin.
fuckers at
Did
home.
you fucking Johnny?
You snorted a K-pin and it hurt? Is that what
Yeah,
you said?
yeah.
Okay. And you by hurt, you mean just hurt your nose?
Yeah, like burned my
Oh,
nose.
okay, okay. I thought you meant like
Yeah.
the way it felt.
Makes
Like
sense.
hurt.
And just for the record, I never did any of that.
I had a girlfriend once who had like disposable, like not disposable, dissolvable K-pin on your tongue. You can put
Ooh,
it on
baby.
your tongue and like be instantly.
I was
like-
prescribed K-pins
That's
for a really long
wild.
time.
Yeah, I get Xanax prescribed, but
Yeah.
I actually checked. I hadn't taken. I've had the same bottle for like almost 2 years.
Yeah, my mom gets Xanax prescribed, so she just gives them to me if I ask for them.
It's really addictive though. I'm afraid to take them like more than once in a while.
You
Yeah,
would think
they're
with
the
my
only,
addictive personality I'd be worse, but like I just don't like the way they make me feel at all.
You have
so-
an addictive personality?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
What
Big
makes you say
time.
that?
It's a social thing.
Yeah, just like I like alcohol clearly, and then like if I like a girl, like if I've like a little bit love a girl, like she's everything, and then I have to get rid of
That's sweet.
no, in like a bad way. Like
No, I get it though.
I know
I'm the same way.
Like,
yeah,
you'll do
I'm
anything
addicted to fucking everything.
You'll do anything. That's not the same thing.
Like
That-
codependence, and they call that, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm addicted to like making this girl like love me, and then like once she does, I'm like, okay, well that's over.
Wow.
But it's like an addiction. I don't know. And
No,
it's like,
that's an addiction
and
too.
then like
yeah.
just like food in general, like I'm addicted to like eating. Like I'm trying to break those habits.
yeah.
Cigarettes and probably weed now. I would say I'm addicted to
I'm a
weed.
very addictive person.
I'm not addicted to alcohol. I think I could stop alcohol. I feel it coming.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
probably.
Not
me
really.
too. Me too.
Not really though.
I feel it coming a little.
Yeah,
My family
yeah,
makes
me
drinking
too, guys.
fun. That's the fun part. Like when you drink with your fam. Whew.
I've told like I forget if I was telling you this the other night because I was really drunk, but I don't have like bad drunk moments. I have bad hangovers.
Yeah, I'm a fun drunk.
Well, I mean, you're a dangerous drunk at times.
What?
You almost got us murdered a few times.
Oh right,
Yep.
How?
guns.
Plague
Not
with guns?
cars.
Not a car.
Not a car. Because
And I mean, yeah, I guess you're a pretty fun drunk too.
I am a fun drunk.
Yeah. You don't get angry.
So do you like? Are you when you break up? Are you just like fucking gutted and heartbroken and stuff?
If they break up with me, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's rough.
but usually, I'm
I
not
have a
saying
friend
like
like
usually
that
they
who's
don't.
just
but,
like
I
broke up
usually-
with a girl like a year ago. He's still like,
doing bits about it.
yeah,
Me too.
like still sad about it. I'm always like, hey man.
I was like that with my last girlfriend.
a
Still is.
year.
I don't know, like in and out. Like it would be like you'd think it'd be over, and then it's.
I had
not.
one a few years ago like that, where I was
Yeah.
bummed about it for a long time. But
Yeah.
I mean, the one I was bummed about the most, it was really only for like a month and a half, 2 months, but then it kind of faded. But it was real. It was
Dan's
real
like,
bad.
never
when
been
that's the
sad
one
before.
that's the one that Dan had sex with. Like
That's why I'm not commenting.
the only one I really feel like I ever loved. To be
The one I
honest.
loved, I think Tyler's gonna have sex with.
Which
just to
is
get back
weird.
to me.
TikTok. Yeah. 2018, baby.
It's gonna come, and I can't say anything about it.
I'm gonna come and she can't say anything about it because she'll be swallowing it. Right, boys?
what do you think about when you break up with someone in their Instagram or whatever? Like, I feel like when two people break up, it's like a contest on Instagram, like who's having a better
life? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
You know, it's
definitely.
big time.
Well, my most recent breakup, like I broke her heart, and I felt bad every time I would post something fun because I was like, she's probably looking at this, being like,
Oh,
he's-
really?
Yeah, she blames Logan too, which is great.
You're a real like Irish Catholic guy. You got
No.
that? Well, I mean, no, like
I'm a drinker.
no, you had
and
that same kind of shit that I would feel bad about that too. Like if
Yeah.
I was happy and I had broken up the relationship, I'd be like, I shouldn't really like
yeah.
rub it in her face. Whereas most people would not think that way. I don't
No.
think they'd be like, put it out.
I would hope the
Especially
breaker
chicks.
upper is like more aware of the fact that they're hurting them.
Yeah, I
You know what I
wouldn't
mean?
like necessarily like. To
I
do
wouldn't
that to
like
a girl
them
I
there.
dumped.
If she broke up with me, I would do that.
Yeah.
I also feel like now it's weird. Like sometimes I feel like for the past couple of years I'm breaking up with chicks like I wouldn't have had to break up with in the past. Like you used to have to really kind of have a relationship with somebody to have to break up with them. But
Oh, I agree 100%.
yeah, now it's
Like
like
a weekly breakup.
now it's like we hung out a few times. We're like. We've
Yes,
talked a few-
Will.
and then you break up with like I've
You
had,
have to like end it, but it's like this shouldn't be an end thing. This should just be a continuation, and then the stopping of the fucking,
yeah, like there was
and then going back to it every so often.
like girls from Tinder and stuff. You kind of have to be like, hey, listen, and then give them the same sort of
right.
like I'm busy with work and you
I do
know,
a lot of stuff.
I'm going out. I'm gonna be busy in the next couple months. I wouldn't really be able to give you time. It's like, but that used to have to be like almost a couple months of someone. Like in some ways, this dating shit is better.
It's sped
But in
up.
some ways, it's not.
I think it depends on, like me having to deal with that. It depended more on like if I took them on dates or not.
Yeah.
Like there were girls that I was legitimately just having sex with. Like we went on one date maybe,
Yeah.
and then once we started having sex, it was like that was the only time we saw each other.
Yeah.
So then when those girls got like any sort of like attitude about me not wanting to do it anymore, I'd be like, I don't like what did you think was like happening here?
Yeah.
Like you'd only hear from me at like midnight drunk. Like
Well, that's the other thing though.
That's my issue.
Chicks use that. A lot of girls now are like, I'm so cool with being fuck buddies. Like, oh
Yeah,
my
no.
god, that's all I want.
They
Like,
never are.
I just need sex. Like, I need dick, you know.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it's like, after 2 times, it's just another way. It's just another way to.
Yeah,
kinda-
they loop us in.
They're like, you know what? I really like your
Monsters.
personality.
Yeah, and that's what gets us.
The things you say.
Thought you wanted me just.
I one time, this is like I hooked up with this chick. She was not a comedian. She was basically like a fan, right?
Yeah.
And it was like through Snapchat. She's like, oh, why don't you come? Like, I live in Boston. She's like sending me these pictures. She's like, dope, you know? So I'm like,
So tight.
I'm like, okay, I don't even care if I get murdered. Like, this risk I have to take. So I go over, and the whole time she's like I'd never met her before, you know?
Yeah.
So we like just pretty quickly just start like
Going
fucking,
at
and
it.
She's like, I love your comedy. You're so funny.
God.
You're so fucking funny. And I was like, this is
And you came
maybe the
immediately.
greatest. Time
I was just
yeah, I was
like,
like,
how do you get this? I
she's
want this.
super hot, and she's like telling me how funny I am while I bang her. And I was actually laughing because I was just like, I'm gonna tell this story 1,000 times. Like, this is incredible. But I imagine she was like, what does a comedian want to hear
Yeah, right.
during sex? And it was the funniest.
She nailed it though.
Yeah,
That's
she-
right.
It was awesome. It was like one of the best.
That's great.
Next to and other only
Say my bits to me.
second best. Yeah, exactly. It's like, what's your favorite closer?
You say the final punch as you come up.
Who am I better than? Tell me who I'm better than. But yeah, the only time better than that was this chick was Puerto Rican. Have you ever?
That's it.
That's it. Right. They're so good in bed. They're so good in bed, and they say crazy
Have
shit. And
not
they call
had
you
the pleasure.
Poppy,
Yeah.
and like. And that story is pretty funny too. Like this is the only cat call I ever did in my life worked. I was shit faced in New York, and it was like 3 a.m. I was smoking a cigarette in front of the bar I worked at, and I just finished, and this chick was walking by, and I was like, "Hey, you want to come in and have a drink?" She was like, "Okay," and I was like, "Oh wow!" And she came in, and I was already shit faced, and she must have probably been pretty shit faced too. We go back
she's
to my
Puerto
place and fuck.
Yeah.
And she's like, all my roommates were like dying the next day because she was just like, "Ay, papi, papi." Everything was in Spanish and stuff.
That's so tight.
So
And then she robbed you.
and she was cool. Yeah, and we hung out, and she was cool. And then she leaves, and like I never see her for like I don't even know how long, right? And my buddy calls me one day. He's like, "Hey man, I got this new job. I'm driving prostitutes."
Oh no.
I'm driving prostitutes to their gigs. Like I'm like a prostitute bodyguard. And he was just this friend of mine. He was like, "It's fucking cool, man." He's like, "I'm gonna come by your work tonight with one of the prostitutes, like just to show you." It's such a weird.
Show you.
Because it is fucking crazy. You know
Yeah,
what I
I'd
mean?
wanna
Like,
see- I
one
get
of
it,
you
I
guys
get
was like driving hookers around. You'd want to show.
I'd be like Will Noonan.
Yeah.
Wait, show you not to have sex with them, just to show like, look.
He's like,
It's a prostitute
He's like,
in
"We
here."
gotta kill time." He's like, "I'll bring her to the bar. You
Oh,
work
okay,
at,"
We gotta
you know?
kill this prostitute.
So he comes in with this chick. It was like a year later. He comes in and with this chick, and she's like, she sees me and I see her, and we're like, "What?" And he's like, "You guys know each other?" It was like this crazy. And then I was like freaking out. I was like, "Fucked a hooker," but for free.
For free.
And
Like,
off
owes
the
me
clock
$500.
too. She might have just been like, I was thinking about
A
the whole
normal
night.
woman.
That cat call. She was like,
Yeah, STDs don't work when she's not punched in.
yeah, you can't get AIDS. Yeah, it was true though. That's like the one thing. Like whenever like I get blood taken at the doctor, I'm like, or something, I'm like, this is gonna be it. Like that Puerto Rican hooker gave me AIDS. I know it.
I just pass out.
Oh,
But I survived. That was a long time ago. I think about it all the time.
Hit her up.
Puerto Rican's the one part of the world I haven't been in.
Puerto Rico. Oh, okay.
Well, New York City is
Puerto
close
Rico.
enough. They're everywhere.
It's not the one part of the world. Shut up.
Well, you got black girl, Asian
That's
girl.
not a part of the world.
Oh no, I meant like sex.
He means sexually, all of Asia. You're just putting
All
on.
of
He
Asia?
means he's never had sex
a Puerto Rican.
with a Hispanic person.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
It sounds fun.
Oh, was that what you were trying to say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was totally clear to me in my
I
head.
meant
That's how
I-
dumb I am.
I don't know. I thought it was a little
All right.
convoluted.
Jewish.
Nope, haven't hit that either.
Jewish has its own.
Jewish, I want to do
Has
that.
its own things. Like I dated a Jewish chick, and I was like, oh, you wouldn't think there'd be any differences between Jewish and just your average sort of white chick. There's subtle differences.
Really?
Yeah, I mean they're Middle Eastern, so
So tight.
plotting attacks against
Dangerous,
America.
yeah. They're dangerous creatures. Yep, gotcha.
But trying to find really cheap ways to do it.
Yeah. Discount bombs.
All right.
All right.
Logan, how long would we
All
go
right.
for?
Yeah, we probably. You gotta go to.
I'm not.
Gravy's?
I'm not like. I'm not.
Oh, all right.
big
I mean, we can
artist.
keep going. I
Yeah,
just was
fuck
making
it.
sure.
Yeah.
Like an
Right,
hour and
guys.
4 minutes.
Hour and 4.
Oh, for yeah, well, yeah, sure.
I'm actually probably not even doing a spot. I think I'm just grabbing a bag of weed.
Ooh.
Drugs, yo.
Drug addict. You hear that, coppers?
I gotta do that too.
Go get them.
I gotta buy weed.
You know what? I gotta buy some weed as well.
Do you really?
Are you buying weed tonight?
No.
Okay, never mind.
Actually, I might.
Oh, well, if you do, I'm
You
coming
want
with
some?
you. Yes, I do.
You guys
Alright.
buy weed in Quincy?
Yeah.
I buy
The
weed once
best
a year.
weed.
Is it good?
Yeah, the guy I get it from is pretty good.
I wonder
buy
if
mine
it's
in Weymouth.
Used to do heroin. Pretty
Really?
cool guy.
cool.
Oh, geez.
Cool. I'm always looking for a new weed guy.
I don't know anything about weed at all. I usually just have Dan buy it for me.
I can't wait until weed stores are here.
You smoke a lot of weed, Logan?
Yeah, fair amount.
You don't smoke butts though, right?
No, I used to. I quit like 5 years ago. I think.
Wow.
You quit, right?
Just 3 months ago.
How's
Let's
it
go
do you-
today.
what type of app do you have? The one that tells
Smoke
you
free.
save money, or
It's a good one.
Yeah,
that
I
the
have
one that you
saved a
used,
lot
Dan?
of
It's
money.
the one I had.
Okay, that's the one that shows you how much money you save.
That's
and
the one I
everything?
use. I've quit for 6 days now.
Really?
No.
No, he just had tobacco in his joint.
You know how much money I've saved in 3 months?
1,200.
Almost 1,600.
Ah.
$10 short.
Good undersell though.
Yeah, yeah.
Made him look better.
The scariest shit was like.
what did you
the
smoke?
Parliament Lights, ultra
Ugh.
lights.
What are you, a 90-year-old stealthy woman?
I know that was the thing. It was like I was trying to quit. For like I was like, let me get myself less addicted to.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it was like nothing by the end. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I really loved it. Like I still have dreams about it almost every night. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
Smoking butts.
cigarettes, yeah.
yeah, and it's not necessarily like the taste either. It's like just like the.
It's the habit. Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
habit.
See, I've never.
I still smoke cigarettes and I have dreams about them. I'm like, you're so good cigarettes.
I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, and I feel like it's because I would get addicted to them.
Yeah. When did you start?
I started probably when I was like 13 or 14, and then
Nice, though.
and then all the way through, and then I quit for like a year when I was 26, and then back again, and then I started dating a chick who smoked, and it was like it was
It's
like
all downhill.
a week.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like a week of dating her.
You got to be that Tumblr photo in bed after sex.
She goes, I go. She had a car and like a Jeep, and she was like, "Let me." I go, "Oh, I'll park the car. Like you get
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
you know." And I hopped in that car, and there was like a pack of smokes in the cup holder, and I was just like, it felt so fucking like right, you know.
Yeah,
To
yeah,
just,
yeah.
I'm like, it's like I need it. And then
The first one back
it's
is
back.
the greatest.
Yeah, yeah. Can
What's
I-
it feel?
can I have
Sorry,
one
I'm
now?
not helping. Yeah, I feel like I'm not helping.
Is there
Nah.
any way to describe what describe?
It
what
just
feels
hurts, and then you get addicted to the hurt, and then you're good.
Yeah,
When
it's
you
weird.
First
though.
start, it gives you kind of like a rush that makes you like dizzy.
Yeah. the
yeah.
That doesn't sound fun.
First
Oh.
cigarette
yeah,
of the
that's-
day
that's
is that
not
for me,
good.
and probably the one after this.
I like the
gives
only
you a
time
rush.
I've craved it has been on like Thanksgiving and Christmas after like that huge like
Yeah,
stuffing
big
yourself
meals.
full of meal, full of food.
Yeah.
When I get drunk, sometimes I'll sneak one.
Oh yeah,
But
that would be the net. I've craved them. Like I had a rough night at Nick's.
You're like, damn it, I can't even get drunk.
I know, but I had a rough night at Nick's, and I was like, It wasn't even like I was pissed off at one of the dudes who works there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, oh, you were there. You were there that night, Friday night. I don't know if you stayed through the whole thing.
Was that whatever? Yeah,
The dude
yeah.
gets on the fucking stage with you, like at the end of the show. Sometimes, if he feels like you're
Wait, was
going
he like-
too long.
Who was hosting?
Phoebe was hosting, but she wasn't the one who did that. It was the guy Sammy works there, who I'm
Oh
all
yeah,
cool with.
yeah, yeah.
And I was all mad that night.
But under the Wilbur. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened? He got on
I was all
stage.
cranky.
Yeah, you threw your girl note.
yeah. I threw my reading note at him. I forgot. I was-
Wait,
I was
what?
fucking-
You really got? Well, I want to hear this.
No, it wasn't that exciting. It was just like, it was just a shit. Nick's Comedy Shop is my favorite fucking club, but every now and then you're there and it's like, it's just
It's
the
like-
most thrown together
It
thing.
seemed like the staff from the club itself.
Yeah.
Like they seem to hate everything comedy.
Yeah, they're just fucking.
That's the way they were. I was at Dick's the other day, and that's the way that's like how they seem there too.
It's that business
It's just
of
like
restaurant.
it's like a club, and then it's just these girls who would never even go to a comedy show with the bartenders
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like all
yeah.
these bouncers.
It
and
is
shit.
like that.
Wait, this is Friday.
No, this was
A couple weeks ago when I
Yeah,
was
this was a couple
closing
weeks ago.
Nick's.
Oh, this was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Friday. Okay.
So it was like a few weeks back.
Oh, okay.
And Friday night sucked. The night all the comics from like Boston come to hang out, it was terrible.
Yeah.
And Saturday night was really good. But It wasn't even that bad, to be honest, but it was like I get pissed because it's like, all right, you try so hard to like make it worthwhile for
Yeah.
this small crowd, and then this dude comes on stage at the end, and like it was like you're wondering like what the fuck just happened, and then you look back and there's a dude behind you.
Yeah.
And,
Wait, are you in the middle of like a bit or
I was in
something?
the middle of that closing reading bit, and the crowd was confused. They thought it was like part of it. It was
Yeah.
fucking.
Why was he on the stage?
Because they were like getting ready to like.
Because I'm supposed to be off stage at like 9:30.
Yeah.
It was 9:31, so he goes out there.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck there.
Yeah.
Do you like the other place better or Under the Wilbur?
Yeah, the other one.
The Icon or whatever? Or
Yeah, I don't know. They've changed the name like
Jewel
fucking
or
30
something like
times.
that.
I'm
Used to
still
be-
kind of confused. So he just gets on stage.
it was like a guy that worked for the bar that was going on after
Yeah, so
the
you're
show.
in front. You're standing in front of like a DJ booth and bar.
Okay.
So he starts going back there and flicking fucking light
Oh,
switches. And
okay.
doing
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Like
Damn.
It was really like he's finishing up, and this guy couldn't wait a second.
he knows the bit too, which is like the worst
Ooh,
part.
that is the worst.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, there's a minute left. Just let me do it. And I fucked up by a minute and a half on the time, which I'm probably gonna do most of the time, one way or the other,
Right, yeah.
long or short.
Right.
So it's just
Right.
like, who gives a fuck? So I was kind of cranky about it, and I remember that was like I wanted a cigarette in there. I was like,
You threw your set.
I was like, I want to kill myself a little, just a little bit.
You threw something at him. You threw a set.
I threw
No,
my,
no.
you know that joke I
Yeah,
read the
you
paper?
read the
Sometimes
paper,
I'll
yeah.
crush up and throw it in the crowd if it's like a really hot crowd.
Yeah.
Instead, I just crushed up, turned around and threw it at Sam.
Do you,
It's fun.
And you talked to him. And
Yeah, I
you guys were
talked to him
cool?
after he knew it. He gave me the most hilarious excuse. He goes, "I have a job to do."
Oh.
I was like, yeah, I have a job to do.
Right.
I'm getting paid to do it right,
Right,
now.
yeah,
That's why
yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, let me do it. Let me finish it. You know.
Do they give you a light at Nick's?
They do. Like she didn't. Phoebe didn't. I didn't ask for one or anything. I mean, I had my timer going, and I was literally like, I'm 1 or 2 minute mistake of. I was like, all right, 30 minutes will be that time,
Yeah.
and it was really 28 minutes.
Damn.
I'm just curious if that's like a thing that stops. Like, is there a level of like professional comedian where like they just expect you to know
Well, it was
like how
that's
much time you're doing?
when I was in New York, like you always got lit. Like
Yeah,
you
right.
never had to worry about knowing your own time ever.
Okay.
But then when I came up to Boston, it was like
Real loose.
it was like if you're a professional, you keep how to do time
Yeah.
up here. Like 5 minutes in your head.
That's so weird though.
It's a wrestling.
Sometimes
thing,
you like
too,
say an extra thing that like you wouldn't even compute
Yeah.
into the time and shit.
Yeah, like if you start riffing or something, how are you supposed to like now you're doing like mental math? Like, oh, I think that was like
Right, yeah.
I know,
30
it's true.
seconds.
I just have this. I have a timer, like I always use to this day. Just it's like that big.
yeah,
right.
yeah. So you can see
So
it.
you can see it from most parts of the things.
Right.
And, it's like, because sometimes you can't even trust. I've had MCs try and bring me, like, they're lighting me early, and they're like, they're fucked up. They fucked up their math.
Right.
Right.
And
I mean, we all host shows, and we've forgotten to do time, like take the time, and we'll just kind of guess at it.
yeah.
Yeah.
You go back. You're like, are you timing them? And
We're all like,
no.
I thought you were
Yeah, no, that's the other thing. Sometimes the host is like your buddy, and you don't want to make him time you and like light you.
Right,
and stuff,
right,
So
right.
you're like, I'll keep my own time.
Yeah.
It's just the people who like, fucking. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It does always kind of make me laugh. Like I kind of became more Boston when I first got up here. I expected a light everywhere, and then I was like, no, all right, up here, people know their time, okay.
Right.
And then, but now it does make me laugh when like I'm at Capo or something, and some chick who's like brand new to comedy or some dude who's brand new to comedy is like, can you light me at like 6? And I'm like, all right. Kind of. Don't you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can kind of guess between anywhere up to
I have
like
a general
12.
sense,
Yeah.
but for shorter stuff, like if
Yeah, exactly.
I always say just give me like light me if I'm going to if I'm over
Right.
the time,
I'm
like
going
light
far.
me,
Yeah.
get the fuck off. It's weird, like I don't know.
that was, like-
it matters more like when there's a
There's
lot of
paid
people on a
establishment
show.
and shit.
Well, that's how I felt
Yeah.
on Friday when I stopped by the Hideout. My biggest fear was like going because I was really drunk, and I was like, I'm not going to see them light me, and I'm going to like step up. But I think I was pretty well timed.
Oh, it was fine, man. I was so
Yeah.
disappointed. I wanted
know.
you to. I wanted you to be like shit because it was almost like a dude who like hustles you in pool. Like you were acting. You seemed so shit faced off stage.
I was very
And then you
drunk,
go
yeah.
on stage, and it was like the same as always. It was like
Yeah.
almost the same set.
Just
Like,
clairvoyant.
It was fine, and they were
awesome.
laughing and everything. And then I was like, I'm fucking videotaping. People think I'm the world's biggest biggest Tyler Swain fan.
That's great.
And then you murder like fucking hour-old seafood after.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Which we think was Hasmean's, right?
I'm 90% sure.
I've been talking about that all week. I have no idea whose food that is.
What was it?
It was like a lobster roll.
It was like a lobster.
Oh,
Who has
damn.
half of a who orders a lobster roll and only has half?
Garza.
It made me think. I thought for a second it was Mike Dorval's because when he was going on stage, he looked at me. He was like,
Oh, really?
and I was like, oh, he thinks I had a good set. And then we walked away. I kept eating. I was like, is he just telling me I can just finish his food? Like,
Oh, I wonder.
I wonder. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Maybe I'll make a post about
I
it.
would love that.
That would be
being his
hilarious.
reaction. Just
Thank you for eating my food. That'd be Mike.
It's very left
you.
I appreciate the way you eat that.
Oh man.
Boy. Well, that's it.
That's it.
I think so.
We're done?
I don't think I have anything else.
I like that. I liked Logan's questions. Do you guys have any more fundamental comedy questions?
Oh yeah.
What was his question?
He said, should you know your own time or should you not know your own time?
What do you got? What do you got for him?
Always eat a salad while podcasting. Rule
For the
number one.
fans, yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think of one that's not too much of a joke. Like a
Do
question.
you think there's like some comics that don't go to mics ever and they get booked but they're new-ish to comedy, like they just started
Oh,
getting booked
yeah.
and immediately abandoned mics? Like, do you think that's like productive?
Someone else told me about that too. Andrew Della Volpe, you know that kid?
No.
Holy shit! Someone
Yeah.
just told me they gave him my number because they knew him and knew me somehow.
He's a good
I
guy.
think
He's like
someone
a
just
good.
recommended him to me.
That's
He's
so weird.
brand new.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
funny
yeah.
dude. But he was saying that to me. He was like, same thing, kind of. He was like, some of these people, even when they're new, they stop doing open mics. What do you mean by shows though? Like, would that be
Bar
like,
shows.
as opposed to
Yeah,
so like
to
McGreevy's
mics.
isn't an open mic. That counts as like
We look at that
Right.
as a like a.
That would- I would
as a
too,
sh-
I
yeah,
would
yeah,
too,
like
yeah.
as a show or like
it's a book thing.
booked thing that you don't have to go there early and wait and
I mean,
try new.
I still go to open mics. I think there's never a time to not ever go to an open mic.
I mean, that's what I figure. I mean, I guess it like, it makes sense. The better you get, the less often you have to go
Yeah.
to them. But like there's people that just don't fucking go.
I mean, in my prime of like really doing the most comedy I could, I
Yeah.
would do everything I could in a night. So it's like if I could do a
Right.
mic and then a book show and then back to another mic, I would do that.
Hell yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and at this point, you probably have some good bumping pull, right? Like you can
Yeah,
just go.
fucking
yeah.
finally. It only took like a decade. This week is is the beginning of like my 11th year.
Wow.
And I only started getting bumps like in the past year or two. It takes a long time, especially in Boston, But yeah, that's a fucking great thing. You can go to a few more places. And it's honest to God the best thing. I was bummed because it used to be like when I started, like I took a lot. Like I got bumped into 1 a.m. all the time. By,
Yeah, you started in New York.
yeah,
right?
I would get bumped by like the biggest names. So like the dream was to one day bump people.
Right. Yeah.
And it wasn't like so I can like flex my dick. It's like
It's convenience.
it's convenience and it's It's like you earn something.
Right,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
That's all I saw it as. So I remember when I started getting them here and there, I was like, all right, good. I finally like established and earned this. And some open micers sometimes would throw you shade over it. And it's like, dude, like
yeah.
it's
Pay your
this
dues,
is what it
brother.
is. Like it's the fucking
Wrestling.
and not to mention, I always thought when I was hosting mics and shows, it's like if a guy comes by who can actually have a good set at
Right.
any time of the show, it's better
Throw 'em
than
up. Yeah.
3-4 guys in a row who, even if they're gonna be funny one day or they're gonna have a
Right,
couple
right,
moments,
right.
like throw up a guy who's
Right.
Yeah.
been on TV or whatever.
We're
It's
just gonna go up and be funny and not be nervous about the fucking
Yeah.
bits he wrote over at the bar or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it was
Not that
more
you don't
like
do
a-
that, but like
No, but it was more of a thing where even like this guy Jim Lolletti, you guys probably don't know him,
No.
but he would be a guy if he came by, you'd just throw him on because he was he was a pro, you know what I mean? And he was funny and he had earned, like you knew he was gonna do fine. What's
Yeah,
5
yeah.
minutes, you know?
Right, yeah, exactly.
It's a weird thing now though, like that kid who everyone hated was like banned from open mics and
Oh, Zach, hey.
Zach A. And there's shows now where I heard there's a show in LA where like if you start getting sexist or what they consider sexist or transphobic or anything,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
rip you off the stage. It's like I don't like that shit.
No,
man.
no, that's not cool.
That's,
Zach A was
that's
a
the
completely
wrong
different
direction. Zach
Yeah.
A was the wrong direction, but that's also the wrong
Yeah, it's
direction.
all the wrong direction. Like, even if Zach, like people gotta, it's gotta be a safe place for them to fail. You know what I mean? You gotta be able to fall on your face.
Right, definitely.
Every comic that
If he
people
didn't-
admire have been racist and sexist and transphobic at some point on the way to a good bit, like
Right.
writing it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like you just gonna.
If he didn't threaten,
That's what I was gonna say. If
he
didn't
would
threaten
just
people-
be a crazy comic.
I think
Yeah,
also
yeah.
if
That's
you just
the
had
only
any
issue.
material that was like not that, you know, like it's like
or jokes.
it's
Yeah.
one thing to have like a joke, like some jokes about it, but like he's just getting up there and just like yelling like,
Oh yeah.
"You're all fucking faggots!" Like,
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
this, like, "I'll fucking rape your mother." It's like, all right, well, I'm just waiting for like a joke.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. He didn't have any
he's a
bits.
bad example of like the Rosa Parks of this movement.
Right,
like,
right,
but
right.
yeah. Because those.
If
but
it
there's
wasn't for Zach A,
yeah, exactly. He's not the
Why'd you do an
guy
accent?
you want representing the cause, but
Yeah.
there's always been crazy.
Right.
Like it's like what I said at the beginning about the nerds. That to me is like left over from that time. It's like, dude, there's always been crazy people in comedy at open mics.
right,
And in New York, it was like straight up homeless, like fucking.
right, yeah. Guys used to. There were a lot of Iron Furnace at the mic. There would be
Yeah.
the guys that come in and just ramble off the streets. That was
It's
fun.
good for everyone, I think, to see that and to kind of want to get away from that. If you make the open mics too comfortable and too much like shows, no one ever wants to stop doing them.
Yeah, if anything, I would just say
Right.
there's a lot of policing. There's too much policing.
And it's internet bullshit that like no one fucking cares about, like the
it's great.
like the Boston comedy
The
boards
page,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, that place.
Like
is-
as far as that's like yelling into a shoebox and putting it under your bed. as far as who anyone
Well, some people
who's
take
important
that, like,
fucking
really
cares.
seriously.
Yeah, but no one even in the Massachusetts show business gives a fuck about that,
Right, I
much
know.
less
Right.
the real show business of like America.
I love the fights that happen on there.
but it's
Yeah.
what
very
I
important
fucking
to
what I fucking hear from that thing is
Yeah, I don't.
insane
Not a
that
fan.
comedians give a shit about. Like someone who calls himself a comedian also cares about, you know, the minutia of
You hear kids at open mics talking about that board, like, that are new.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
They hear about it before they come into comedy.
yeah. Yeah, there's some guys on there who are like my age or whatever, my comedy age.
Flexing a lot who don't do comedy. type
Or
of thing.
flexing a lot at all, and I'm like, dude, where have you been for 3 or 4 years? Like, you don't work.
Yeah.
What are you
Yeah.
telling all these guys what to do and acting like you're sort of the fucking, I don't know, big
People just
swinging
seem
dick.
bored at work.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the guys I have had small little beefs with over the years are the ones, like some of the most vocal guys on those boards.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, it's like, who gives a fuck, man?
Right.
It's good that you guys work together and you have like the South Shore Boys, but you can't do your sets together. So
Oh,
like,
no,
it's up to
yeah.
each
Right,
of you
yeah, no.
to be a good fucking comic. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, so even within the team, still 3 individuals as far as stand-ups go, and that's the main thing. This whole thing is still a solo sport.
Right, yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 And there seems to be this weird thing like with these boards where it's like, but we're a community and like we all have to sort of. It's like
I
it's
can't
not
believe
like that.
There's a
man.
help
It's,
board. What's it called? The
Oh yeah, they made like another board
Support
for comics
group.
that need like emotional
oh
support.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's another fucking. That's the intention of that is really good.
I was gonna say,
but
that's
what
what-
it's really
yeah.
about is, do you see how we started this board? Like, look at
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all-
And
We're
it
so
also isn't.
great.
It's already had like drama equivalent
same
to
thing,
the
yeah.
Boston Comedy Board.
Oh,
Like,
really?
You can't get that out of those people. Like,
Yeah.
that's in their DNA. They want to like be mad at shit.
Some people feel like they're in like comedy camp, like they act like they're in like comedy
Fuck,
camp.
yes.
And then
yeah.
we like
That's
we're
exactly
doing
right.
open mics. Like it's just an easy way to say it.
I like when
we're trying to do comedy and other people are going to comedy camp.
I like when a
Yeah.
new person says they're quitting comedy. That's really funny. I saw that happen recently.
Well, it's the podcast. It's actually, I think, the podcast like boom.
Yeah, it's ruined all of us. We all talk like we've been doing it for 15 years.
Talk like we've been doing it for 15 years, and also though people who have never done it even at all
right.
are coming into shows now and coming into comedy with such like a fucking vast knowledge
Yeah.
of what being a comedian is and
It
all
creates
that
that
shit.
delusion.
It creates a huge delusion. I mean,
Like the
more
wrong
dudes.
delusion.
Yeah, I
You
mean
need a
more
little
dudes
bit.
who are like hey, that's a nice chunk you got on on like fucking, chicks' voices. I like that. That's a good bit. You're not bombing with it,
Right,
They got the lingo.
which is very similar
And
in the wrestling community.
yeah,
You notice
exactly.
those guys too, and they're fucking ridiculous.
But yeah, I notice a lot more of that in stand-up now. That camp thing is like the perfect. So everyone heard on podcasts for a bunch of years, like, comedy's the place you go when you have no friends.
Right,
and you're
yeah.
like, you feel like you're not.
Are
don't
you
have
an
a place
outsider?
in the world.
Come on in.
Yeah. So now we have all these fucking people. It's tough to kind of tell who's. It takes a little while. You can't just tell instantly who's for real and who's
Right,
not. You
right,
gotta
right.
kind of see their act a few times, and comedy's always kind of attracted those people, but now there's just such a boom of them. Now that everyone wants to be famous.
Yeah, I think
Wants
it's
to
cool to
be.
be a comedian right now.
Yeah, which is fucking weird for me.
Yeah.
After 10 years, it was definitely not cool when I started. It got a little bit cooler. Now it's like as cool as it's ever been.
That's funny that it was like not cool.
Yeah.
Like it just
Is it
seems
cool
weird to me
now?
because you would think. I think some people would think like, oh, it's cool you do that.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's a legitimate, like,
I don't feel
you can
cool
hang
at
with the
all.
dude. Like, you could, it was not something that would impress a woman in 2008 or 2009. You would
Yeah,
not
that
be
makes
like,
sense.
you would not be like, yeah, I do comedy, and have her be like, oh,
Well, yeah,
that's
there's just-
interesting. I know a little bit about that because I've watched Crashing and listened
Right,
to
yeah. There's like
WTF.
so much shit just about the art of comedy now.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's
Movies.
very helpful, but it's also probably oversaturated.
Well, they all know.
Everything.
Everyone knows a little bit more.
Yeah.
The same way me and Tyler feel like we know what pro wrestlers feel like and go through, and like
Yeah, but we're
they
not
feel that way
wrestling,
about
yeah.
us. you
Right.
know?
It's just a little. I feel like it takes a. When you take the mystique out of things, like people get a little less interested in them,
Yeah.
or like just like. I don't know, just something about like if you see the process behind like comedy, it's like less mysterious to
Fuck
you.
yeah.
You like, kind of it like devalues it almost a little bit.
I think so too. It's weird though because I agree with that, but I don't know if everyone agrees with that as far because it seems like
Right.
nowadays with people the act is not enough. It's like they need a podcast to go with it, and
Right.
maybe that's enough, but they do seem to want like more. But I agree. I think like it's terrible. Like they wouldn't want to see your act in development. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
That's why everyone gets so mad. Famous guys get so mad if they're taped.
Right.
Because it does suck if it's halfway funny and someone puts it up because it's halfway funny.
That's all it's ever.
Yeah,
gonna be.
yeah.
But yeah, it's true. It's just like it's just like wrestling in that way too. If you once you kind of see it enough and you learn, like that's when my fandom of it peaked because it was like, oh, now I know too much about it now. Now I like kind of know what's gonna happen and I can see the moves and
Yeah, yeah.
it does. It absolutely
It
takes
has,
some of that
I mean,
shit.
like, I still like comedy, obviously, but like, you'll watch comedy different now too, where it's
Yeah.
like more analytical, and you're like,
Everything.
oh, he goes this way with it. And you're like,
Well, that's
I
why
don't
I
know.
like
It's
to-
just
Yeah, that
you're not
comes in-
watching it with blinders.
I like
that
to
comes
go
and
back-
goes though.
I like to go back. Like I listened to Two Drink Mike, like Mike Birbiglia's album. Like we were talking about this the other day, and like I remember listening to that just as a fan when I was like a young kid, and now I'm
Yeah.
listening to it, I'm like, oh, that's a tag. Like,
Yeah.
like I know now like the art he's like
Yeah.
doing. I'm like, oh, that's kind of ruined.
I know that does kind of suck.
Yeah.
I have that happen all the time.
But you can step back. So if a comic can make you step back and like laugh at it as a comic, that's a good.
It comes and goes too. I think like sometimes when I've been doing too many shows, like going to too many like work, like sometimes you can work too hard,
Yeah.
and then you just almost like you're like if I hear another fucking dude just talking to a microphone, I'm gonna kill myself. Like I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I don't want to hear it. And that's kind of what you need to do, but I've been in that moment many times where I'm just like I don't want to hear it anymore. But then like Chappelle when he comes out with these new specials and stuff, you'll just need to see someone who
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah. There's
really
always the
inspires
ones that bring
you
it back
again.
to it.
It's almost always better for you too, I think, to watch it more
Yeah.
than not. You know?
Yeah.
Man.
Well, it's like studying.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like I had to, not that I wasn't gonna, but I feel like I had to watch the Chappelle show specials to
Yeah.
like have a discussion about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Norm Macdonald was another guy I saw. Like I wasn't feeling too inspired by comedy. I was kind of like in a rut. And I
Yeah.
went and saw him at the Wilbur, and I was like, holy shit! Like it just
Yeah.
woke me up. You know, Chris Rock. I saw him like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, god damn.
Oh yeah, I heard that
Felt
show
like
was great.
Yeah, it felt like a brand new fucking like. It felt like exactly what you're talking about. I was like, I don't know anything about this. What is he doing? He's on like 5 different fucking levels.
Right.
Yeah,
So
that's
good.
when we saw David Tell at the Wilbur. I
Yeah,
was
dope.
like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
That's the hardest I've ever laughed in my entire life.
Yeah,
Love a great
that dude is
show.
a beast. Follows me on Twitter. I got drunk with him before I even started stand up.
Really?
Yeah, twice. No, I think the second time I had started stand up, but I was 18 years old, living in New York City. I moved to New York City a month after I graduated from high school and 2 months before 9/11.
Damn.
So I had 2 months living in New York, whatever, having a good time before 9/11. It was still fun after that, but not the same.
I heard.
So I had, so I was 18 years old. I'm like drink, and it was New York City. You could it's always been easy to drink underage there,
Yeah,
but back
yeah.
then it was
Right.
just if you just had to go.
You just went to the bar that your friend knew someone at.
Yeah, or
something
they'd just be
that.
like no, and then you'd be like, okay, I'll go next door. They say
Right.
no, then it would only take one
Yeah.
or two. So I was in this place, and I was just like, it was 3 a.m. I couldn't sleep. It was like 2 or 3 a.m. I couldn't sleep, so I went to this old dive bar. I'm sitting in there, and it's just me and like these 2 old alcoholic dudes and the bartender. And Attell walks in alone, and he's like, he starts basically doing. I think he's already a little lit. It was right near Stand Up New York. He comes in, he's like already kind of fucked up, and he's like just starts doing like Insomniac with no cameras and no people.
Oh,
He
that's
just
so
starts
tight.
like roasting everyone in the place. And he sees
Did
me.
other people recognize him?
The bartender and me did because we were both kind of on the younger side, and the other guys didn't. But they, it was just like comes in, he's holding court,
Yeah, yeah.
and then sits next to me. He's like, "Oh, it's great to see a young, lonely drunk." And, like just, and then
That's
he
so
like hung
sick.
out. He answered. I had a bunch of stupid questions about like Larry David. I was like, "You ever met Larry David?" I asked him a bunch of. 'cause
Hey,
I-
you're David Tell. You know Larry
yeah,
David.
yeah. Do you know Larry David? A typical kind of thing, and he was just fucking cool as hell. And a couple times after that, like if you would go to areas near comedy clubs or see comedy, he was a hang out and drink type of dude. So
Damn.
Yeah, I can't believe he quit drinking. That
yeah,
seemed like
he would have made a move on your girl for sure. He was also, he was also that guy. I remember him trying to make some moves on some.
Oh, really?
Bring a pretty girl with you, like, oh, let's go. I hear David Tell's drinking down the street. Let's go. And then before you know it, like they're in the corner like talking. You're like, oh man, I gotta be on
David
Comedy
Tell
Central.
cucked me.
damn, he's not an attractive man.
I know.
either.
And it's like you don't even care though. You're like, he's so
Yeah.
funny. Like, go ahead, buddy.
He looks
good
like a
bit.
racist drawing of a Jewish person.
I
Massive
saw him and Geraldo like right before Geraldo died. I remember me and my friend were like, they're gonna die. we were like, those guys we were like, our heroes are gonna die soon. 'Cause they look dead already.
Yeah.
They must have been partying together or something. They were up there. They both just looked so bad, and they were smoking. And I bartended and worked in bars, and one of the places I worked was near where Geraldo lived with his wife, and he'd walk by with his wife and his kids, and he'd just like stare inside at the bar, like just like, he'd be walking by with the kids, and he'd just be like, "It looks so fun in there." It's crazy.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
Those are good times. Should we
Jealous.
end? Should we end on that?
I feel that was a good one.
I was in a happy
Yeah.
That was a nice happy.
end.
Well,
That was it.
Okay.
Cool.